Are you getting your thing? Hey man,
Hey man,
how's it going?
cheers. Happy new moon.
Happy new moon. Can I start with a rant? First off, I'm
Hmm.
over here at David Wei's Wudong West, but I've had it. I want to know. I want everyone, if you can find it in your paranoid hearts, to please send me an apology for all of your fear mongering during this solar eclipse.
Oh my goodness, don't
Because
get me started.
after I was cool every Y2K. I was like, look, you guys ever gonna send me an apology on, January 2nd? No, you're not. And then the 2012 thing and the Mayan calendar thing, and then all the times, and every time anyone tells me that the world's gonna end or aliens are coming down, I always just say, so are you ever going to send me an apology when it doesn't happen? No, you're not. You're just going to fearmonger your way and then just kind of blow. Oh, well, it didn't.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
anyways,
yeah. We had a great
um,
party.
yeah, 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 yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I grew up in San Diego.
Hmm.
I was a kid, grew up in San Diego in the 90s, in the early
Hmm.
90s. So
Yeah.
on AM stations, in San Diego during
Hmm.
that time, the rapture was imminent
Oh, yeah,
several
yeah, yeah,
times,
yeah, yeah,
so, you know, you get used to it. I mean, it's
yeah,
basically the culture of theism, right? The end times
yeah.
is coming. So
Yeah, I also want
I
to thank
call,
everybody. I just did a really cool but I just got all these email responses I sent out an email about kind of end of the world stuff, and just
yeah,
because my dad and I was afraid of the end of the world when I was in third grade. I read that the world was supposed to end, and I was going to school, and he's like, "Nah, He's like, "Since you've been alive, there have been prophetic ending of the world. You've lived through
several
like three or
times.
four of them already."
Yeah,
He
yeah.
goes, "So, I would end up going to school, and he'd be like, 'Hey, remember the world's going to end, so have fun.'" You know what I mean? And then
Make it
over
count. Make it count.
yeah, yeah. And then over time, like, it started being a joke. Like, these people believe it's going to end now, or these people are going to end now.
Yeah.
That being said, I would also like to, yeah, it's like one of the things that I always put out to people is like, if you really believe that, what are you doing at work? What are you doing here? What do you do? You know what I mean? It's kind of like, ask yourself I remember in the Y2K thing, some guy was telling me about it, and I go, why are we talking about this at work? Why are you here right now? If you have
Yeah.
1 month to live, why are you here? And he was like, and I go, so obviously you don't believe it. So,
Yeah. Well,
um,
that's perfect. And you're like questioning their conviction. Where's your conviction, man? You
yeah,
really
where's your
feel like this
conviction?
good?
Yeah. You're literally like checking the schedule right now, wondering if you got
Right,
hours
right,
next
right.
week,
You're
and you
putting gas in your car.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
anyways, okay, I'm gonna ask David Way is sitting right there.
Hi,
Just
David.
right there. Hold on. Here. I'll 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 let you guys see how horrible his life is. Let me turn this around. There's David Way. Hi, David
Oh,
Way,
hey,
sitting by the
David
fire.
Way.
So that's a thing. And yeah, sorry to put it back on my mug. And then the last thing, I'd like to thank Christine for
Oh, she got you. You got your hair
she she
did.
she cut my hair, and
Mhm.
Alice Rain Salon, and I gave myself the greatest haircut I've ever given until Christine got to my hair. There's always
And she's like, "What the hell have you done?"
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I gave myself a haircut after being attacked by dogs in public lands, and it was accidentally the best haircut I've ever gotten because I was like nervous, and I just shaved my head without a mirror, and it was really good. And then she's finally the next person. She nailed it. So she's amazing at what
Yeah.
she does. So
She nails it.
anyways,
Yeah. Every time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So sorry to keep on with all this stuff. Cool. Let's get started. What month are we going in? What moon are we going into? And what's the
Yeah.
deal, man?
What's the deal? Okay, so the breakdown goes like this. Today is the first day of the third moon. Happy new
Hmm.
moon. And it is a dragon moon. It is the third
Hmm.
moon of the year in the Tongshu, in the calendar. The Tongshu is the dragon moon, and it is an earth dragon moon. So we had pretty agitated first two moons of spring with a fire tiger and a fire rabbit, and now we're on to the earth dragon. And we can talk a little bit about what the element brings to that equation. But I think that the biggest thing that we want to bring forward about the third moon is that the third moon is a transitional moon. Okay. So this
Okay.
is one of the four places in the calendar of the Tongshu where Earth appears, to basically help transition between one season and another. Okay. So we are transitioning between spring and summer. So this is a kind of interseasonal moon. This is the first interseasonal moon of the year, and it's here to authenticate, basically turn our inspirations of spring into intentions of summer. So you can actually
Okay.
take something to fulfillment. So that's the idea. Authentication itself is not like a hall pass or a permission slip. Authentication is a practice of, basically bringing to light our inspirations and finding their validity in our experience. Okay. So we're assessing our capacity and authenticating our inspiration so we can develop an intention for action in the summer. Um, the reason why this is important is you have to think about it. You have to back up a little bit and look at all 12 moons. So all 12 moons, nine out of the 12 moons, yin is dominant or a major player of nine. So like it's not that you get 6 moons of yang qi and 6 moons of yin qi. It doesn't work like that. So yang qi, where yang is like dominant, the sort of the dominant force, of the season, happens in dragon, snake, and horse. So this is the first moon in which yang is fully activated. It is no longer necessarily negotiating with yin. It's now it has a vitality to express. So this is a really tremendous, amazing moon, because this is a kind of recovery, full recovery, that yang qi is in full recovery. So we should be essentially busy, get out there, do things. Is the major encouragement, of the dragon moon, is to basically get out there and take stock, of our capacity, take stock of our potential, and be generous, and
Mm,
be forward going,
mm,
generally speaking. So this is a very important time to get out there and try things out. However, because this is a Confucian Taoist system, I'd always say again, it's not authentication is not a hall pass or a permission slip. Reluctance is actually plays a pretty vital role, in authenticating our inspiration so that we can form an intention. Reluctance is actually important, and I'll spell it out like this. Basically, the idea is that aggression, you don't want to just do all the things you want to do, right? You want to actually hold back a little bit until you're pulled forward, right? Until
mm,
you're pulled into the situation. So if we can be reluctant in our aspiration, it will either strengthen the aspiration, it'll either strengthen the relatedness, or it will end it, in which case it probably wasn't strong enough to act on, right? So you want the situation to mature of itself. This is why it's a dragon moon. The dragon is basically this appeal to our relationship to nature, our relatedness to our surroundings. We're not commanding nature in this cosmology. We're in partnership, right?
mm.
So our act of our basically our stance of reluctance is a way to distinguish, is a fancy word for this, a premonition, of what we want to do, from fantasy. Whereas I have this idea and I really need to do it, right? So this is it's more or less kind of a difference in attitude. But when we have a premonition, Ming used to say, and I agree with him, anytime I get asked by somebody, hey, I really want to go do this, he'd always say yes. That it's really not a matter of whether or not you should do it. It's actually a matter of when would be
Mm.
the right time to do it. Because if it's like divination, if you're formulating a question to ask, to divine, to find clarity about, if you're formulating a question, that means you're more than halfway there. You're like 70, 80%. You're right there. So if you're formulating like an aspiration of something you want to engage and things you want to do, then you should do it. Because the idea is that we're not looking for absolute full clarity in the third moon. We're just trying to engage and be responsive. So this is where reluctance comes in, because if we hold back just a little bit, then we're actually able to be responsive, to
Mm.
conditions, and things change as you pursue an aspiration. We all know this, like you're like, I want to be the best chess champion in the world. And as you go down, like it changes, the
Mm.
aspiration changes, and it should. That's the idea. So, it's not about like getting, so aggressively clear about our feelings that nothing can stop us. This is a very idealistic position, that the Chinese cosmology just doesn't support. It's really much more interactive, but it's a very potent time, and it's a lot of energy, a lot of vigor. But if we can't, kind of corral it at the beginning and to be responsive in this way, then in the next two moons, it can get out of control. And then at the end of it, you're sort of left with nothing because you've scattered in every direction. That
Is this is this one of your moments of, hey, let's mind our momentum?
I think all of it is, being just a little bit careful, just like
Mhm.
just a little bit, don't make big assumptions, Matt.
Yeah, so I landed here in the Bay, thanks to all the people that have been coming out for the 2 days of clinic that I was able to squeeze in. But the energy here, I'm not calling anyone out. It's kind of, it's what always came up.
Mm.
Frantic. There's a frantic nature right now.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
almost
yeah.
like I should be doing something, but I when I redid a lot of the wording on the site and everything, and I think one of the hardest parts to get across to people is like to stop, not stop doing anything, but like stop to actually take inventory of what's actually already rolling and automated in the background. Because like if you're going to start something, many of us aren't aware of how much is already going in the first place. So if you start
True.
something, it's like you already have 20 plates spinning and you
Right,
forget that they're
right.
going because you're just kind of mindlessly doing it. And then
So
you
in
start something,
Yeah,
it'll overwhelm you.
in that kind of circumstance, somebody who's already overloaded in the third
Yeah.
moon, is going to face hard choices in the summer, Matt.
And well, that's the thing. Like that's a skill. Skill is putting things down. Like it's just as much of a
Right,
job to clear
right,
out the garage as it is to fill
right,
it, right? And
right,
actually
right.
probably sometimes more. Yeah.
And what we want is fulfillment. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can back up on, in this
Hmm.
conversation, given like the habitual tendencies of Western culture, which is more and more, and it's only a
Yeah.
matter of how much aggression I can put forward. And like
Yeah.
none of that will be successful. In fact, having that kind of attitude in the third moon is liable to wipe you out completely, right, Matt?
Can that push you more towards the positive? So what's the deal, man?
Oh
What
yeah.
what let's focus on solutions. I'm holding your
I
feet. There's a
mean,
fire over there. I will hold your feet to that fire right there.
yeah, listen, I think most people have an innate sense. First of all, the first two moons of this year were both fire moons. So a lot of
Mhm.
easy agitation. So what I would hope would be the circumstance starting in this third moon and then going into the fourth moon, the second moon, starting this process of really building momentum in the summer is a little bit of stability, a little bit of
Mm.
like integrity expressing, a little bit of like being realistic with ourselves. You know what? I can do four things, I can't do seven. Like
Yeah.
maybe having that kind of instead of doing a lot of surface stuff, like going deep on just a couple things and giving yourself time, to do those sorts of things. Like I think what's amazing about a dragon moon in a dragon year is that integrity is really going to be paramount. And integrity, defined by a dragon, is basically how things work, how things actually work. Not the fantasy we have in our heads about how we want them to be, but actually how they work. So
Mhm.
I see personally in this moon, if people hit the wall, I would see that as a positive. Please see that as a positive. Don't take that as like a, oh, woe is me moment. Get real, like because you have a wealth of potential around you, but you've probably been putting a lot of your emphasis in a fantasy and
Mhm.
missing the forest for the trees, as they say. Right. So
Yeah.
there's a tremendous, and it's still early, like that's what I want to encourage. So there's a calibration here. There's a rectification, so if you find yourself like kind of criticizing constantly, back up, is it them or is it you? Like
Mhm.
actually get real with your circumstance, because we probably had some pretty elevated expectations, over the first 2 moons, and now it's time to ground it. Now it's time to actually put it into play. What can you reasonably do? So get ruthless with yourself. This would be a positive move to get
That's the
really
that's the I call it the band name moment. It's like a lot of times when it's fun for the brainstorm, and it's fun to,
sure,
you get in a band or you start a business or anything. There's the chaos of the creative moment of the
right,
brainstorm. But
right,
then there is the moment where you're gonna have to buy the domain, and then you know what I mean, or you're gonna have to like commit to the band name, or you're gonna have to commit to the thing. And that's a different type of energy, because you're like, once it's going, like, when I do it all the time, and every time I regret it. Every time I regret, like for example, like the I was just over there, and we were talking to someone about the journal journey, right?
uh,
And I crack up because, like, I actually don't like that name. I don't like saying it. I don't like anything about it. I call it the JoJo. I did it as a moment of like, don't take this so seriously. So I named it
JoJo.
something. Yeah. So it was like the journal journey. It's kind of like it's like a silly thing that I was doing with
And
these
then everybody
cops.
loves it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. But then I just, it's like now I'm like committed, and I gotta do it. But that's kind of what you're saying is like the first 2 moons were like, let's do this and let's do this and let's do this. And then now it's like, but now ground it out and know that the
Right.
thing you're doing is now a committed thing. And so,
Well, look
yeah.
at it like this. If you've got like 2 moons where you're planting a bunch of seeds, okay?
Okay.
Some things took off in the garden and some things really
Hmm.
didn't. It kind of looks like they're taking off, but not really. So
Hmm.
what's the move? Like where do you
Hmm.
put your energy? Do you put your energy on those things that are starting to show momentum, where they show real potential?
Hmm.
This is just the time to figure out what your real potential actually is. You know,
Okay.
that's
Who's made
that's
for this?
really um I mean in a dragon year stereotypically who's made for this is any of the 12 branches that are action oriented, but dragons are made for this, snakes are made for this,
Hmm.
because they're attentive to their circumstances. Rabbits are made for this, and tigers can be made for this. But this might be the time where their overextension actually really lays them out.
Hmm.
Um, Same is also true for horses, and goats. Goats could get laid out from this, but they'll recover much quicker. Same with monkeys. Monkeys could actually do very well this moon, if they're willing to kind of narrow this is where their focus actually really helps.
Mm.
And I will say also the same thing about roosters is for them to really kind of narrow their scope of activity. Um, Dogs, really should stay within a very narrow bandwidth of people and places that they know very closely. And that has more to do with the fact that things are, at this moment, things are really in flux. Things are really going to be changing quite a lot because we've had a lot of suggestions and now things are actually going to be put into sort of more tangible action. So that could mean that like there's ideas or inspirations for change, but nothing is really actually grounded yet. But now things are going to start grounding. So it could kind of look a little unstable for a dog who's really interested in kind of continuity of experience. And then pigs can roll with this. They're they're pretty flexible, and as well as rats. Rats actually do uh, in a similar way to the rooster, rats even more so are going to be really, really, really good at assessing their resources during this time, and that's where they should put their attention. So I'd say right now, rats are actually you want a rat friend, because they're going to give you the real, like what things are actually worth.
Mm,
And like whether or not they're worth your time, like you want a rat friend
yeah.
during this moon. It's because it's,
Mm,
the manifestation that we're talking about, because dragons are known for manifestation, is basically when it comes to the third moon, is basically like setting the stage for the momentum that you're going to generate. You want to go downhill, bro. Like you don't want to go uphill, right? So
mm,
so in the third moon, you really want to set the stage so you can just go right downhill. Because once we get into the horse moon, we're going to need to make we're going to need to choose our priorities. We're going to need to kind of scale it back so that we can keep coasting, into the fall. So once you get to the horse moon, you don't want to be pushing really, unless you're pushing it across the finish line, like where you can see the end in sight. That's true for the horse and the goat. You want to be really bringing things to conclusion during that time. So, like I said, Yang Qi has 3 moons to really get off the ground.
mm,
So it has a very short runway. That's why dragons don't have wings and they don't like run. They go straight up. Because they can.
mm,
They have that kind of serpentine motion, so they don't need a runway like a bird to get up off the ground. They go straight up.
mm,
So that's the idea. If we're using that image, it means that the dragon moon is the time to get up and fly and to see the bigger picture and to look at our lives through the bigger picture instead of like a sense of myopia. That would be the fantasy that we want to like push something through. So like try
mm.
to broaden your perspective, get lots of perspectives. Don't assume that you have the power right now. This is where the reluctance comes in. If you can hold back, you will build power by reluctance. You will build to the point where it like pulls you forward. I'm sure you've had that kind of experience. Yeah.
I always have that kind of experience. I'm
Synchronicity.
I'm extremely cautious. You know me. I but what I
You
would
got some
like
rabbit.
to, yeah, that's that side of me.
Mm.
What I'd like to ask is, so what you're saying is this a good time for building ideas and grounding out ideas? Or when you're
Yeah.
saying the reluctance, I, if we follow your advice, you keep telling us to not get anything done.
No,
So
I
what
mean, what
what
I
what
mean
is
by
your advice? No,
what I
let's
mean
fight.
by
Let's
re
fight it out. Fucking you and me.
yeah, what
No,
what
no.
I mean
What's
by
your advice to someone that
reluctance,
needs to get shit done?
I mean, obviously do it. If you're
Okay.
pulled
All right.
forward, be pulled forward. Like I can't tell a dragon not to do something. Like I'm surprised you're not doing something right now.
I am doing
But
something right now.
it's
Why do you
just
think I'm in town?
it's just that there's something that I remember you saying years ago, which was don't don't be first, be the best,
Hmm.
right? So think of it like that. Like,
Hmm.
what would it take for you to be the best? Not to
Hmm.
be the first one across the finish line, because that doesn't
Hmm.
matter at all.
Yeah.
Like, but to be the best at what you do, and
Yeah.
then, drill down on that. So reluctance is
Hmm.
really kind of more of a cosmological principle, not like, oh, I don't know if I want to do something. You're going to do something, you're going to
Hmm.
get pulled forward. So I think that it's just more about like having a sense of perspective in terms of
Hmm.
what you're doing. And then if you have some hesitation, then that's actually a sign that you should wait for it to that it should cultivate more, that it should um yeah, there's a word that I'm looking for, but I can't find it. It's like that it should just should really germinate a little bit more before it actually pulls you forward. You really want to be pulled forward. You don't want to push.
Mm.
You want this is a really strong idea in Chinese thought process. Like, for instance, if I had this great idea, okay, I'm not going to announce it to the world. I'm going to actually work on it. I'm actually going to build momentum for it.
Yeah.
You know, but if I go posting it on everywhere, hey, this is what I'm going to be doing now. This is my business name, and I'm da 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 da. But I haven't actually done any of the legwork and
Yeah.
built it up and gotten clients and all that stuff. Then I don't really have much. So the advice is like, if you're dedicated to something, just do it. Don't need to tell anybody. Matt.
That reminds me of why I used to get annoyed when all my musician, not all, but when musician friends of mine, they would start their Kickstarters,
Mm,
and you're like, and the amount of albums that actually got done was really rare, right?
right,
And I always wanted to start at and yeah, I always have the metaphor of, or the image of, like, when a caterpillar is becoming a butterfly, it doesn't keep like stopping and peeking its head out and be like, hey, I just
right,
grew a wing
right.
now, click,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
everybody, look at me.
Check it out.
I
I
mean,
got
it's like,
another
yeah,
appendage.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
check it out, and it's like, no, it's just like,
Right.
go in, do your thing, and
Do
don't make
your
a big stink out of
thing.
it, and come out a butterfly.
And then when that
Mm.
when that moment happens, it's because of all this momentum. And that's
Mhm.
why, and there's this notion of things, um there's this sensibility that the Chinese culture like cites quite a lot, which is how
Mhm.
things just sort of happen on their own so that no one can really take credit. It's not
Oh,
because
okay.
of one person. It's just something that
Yeah.
everybody was involved in. Next thing you know, we got this big accomplishment, and nobody can stand at the center and say, "I want to
Hmm.
thank everybody for coming here." Like it's just
Yeah.
like you did a no, boy, you did a lot. Everybody's pointing fingers at everybody else for how much they contributed.
Hmm.
So that's like a very strong value of this kind of collective notion of this collective
Hmm.
project.
Hmm.
And so those are the things we want to really cultivate, is this where we get to the end of something that might be pretty arduous and nobody can really take credit for it because it was really felt that everybody was involved. And
Nice.
that's a really strong idea. But I think it's really important this is a really vigorous time. So I tell everybody, like, again, if somebody says, "Hey, should I be doing this?" I'm like, of course, like, because you might be operating with a premonition, and that premonition is kind of like inspiring you to ask me the question. Like, if you're asking me the question,
Mm.
that means you're probably like 70% there. You should go with that. Um,
What are you looking forward to this moon? What are you doing? What's your thing?
um, I think, what am I looking forward to? I think it's just I don't want to sound boring, but it kind of feels like more of the same. Just it feels like a really vibrant time to for education for me, like
Mm.
and really getting a grasp on the things that I'm dedicated to. So I'm excited about that. Like
Hmm.
so there might be more offerings, from me, more writings, trying to fulfill things, trying to get, certain things on the board, off the ground, having a Patreon, where people can support, and do those sorts of things. So there's a lot, like, personally, that I struggle with in terms of this practice, in terms of letting other people see me. So that's what I'm sitting with and seeing if there's something I can get pushed across the finish line, either this moon or in the snake moon or in the horse moon. Like, that's what I'm trying to lift off the ground. But like, for the most part, I'm still feeling this great gratitude, for the deepening of this practice.
Hmm.
So in a dragon moon, I just feel like that's going to get even better. The relationship between Earth, coming back, something we talked about in the beginning, this Earth, it is an Earth dragon moon, and dragons are natively Earth. So this is the dragoniest dragon, so to speak. No modifications. This is a really full Earth dragon moon, in a wood dragon year. So there might be I had some thoughts about, like, whether or not this was not necessarily the most auspicious thing, because in the five element theory, the relationship between wood and earth is antagonistic, meaning it's controlling the earth or
Yeah.
undermining the earth. However, earth is also a protector of wood. It can be considered a kind of mothering protector of wood
Mhm.
because and that's one of the five element relationships is generative, controlling, and also protecting. So metal, which is the son of earth, destroys or controls wood. But in this case, earth is what's present. So it can be protecting wood from the kind of editing process that we're going to experience in the summer, which is the reason why I keep coming back to really ground your aspirations. Because if you can ground your innovation in a momentum, in a history, in a teaching, in some life experience that's already existing, we're not creating things ex nihilo, like out of nothing. We are creating and innovating our lives based on our experiences, like the water rabbit year, even before that, where we're really trying to manifest something that we really aspire to, like that we have an inspiration for. If we can draw on that momentum and that history, that's an earth that protects the innovation, right? So we're putting innovation in a context and grounding it. And if we can do that, then when we get to the metal element that's in the middle of summer, which is not where it should be, right? But it should be in the fall, but it's in the middle of the summer, then it won't really impact us as much. But if we're overextended and only surface level, not very grounded, doing a bunch of things, then when we get to that final moon of that yang summer, then things are going to get cut back without any control of ours. We just won't be able to keep up. Like
Mhm.
it's the horse moon that's coming up is not a multitasking moon. That's not a multitasking moon. You should be doing only a couple, few things. So this is the time to find out what those things should be. And that's the reason why I bring that forward.
Nice, man. Well,
Yeah,
I'm about to go sit next to this fire because I'm getting chilly, and
it's been a
I would
pleasure.
like everyone to Uh, oh, and if this is a weird talk because there's no music, there's no production
I
because,
know there's no intro,
right,
outro because
yeah, right when I landed, like this is the second time my computer has fried out. I have no computer right now. It's off getting
but
fixed
see,
again.
now everybody can see how good we are. And like this is one take, baby. One
Yeah, this is
take.
this is this is one. This is the fourth time I've had to call. So I'm just kidding.
All
Let's do all that again, man. All right,
right, let's
take
try it one
no,
more
yeah, yeah,
time.
yeah. All right, one more
Yeah,
time, one more time. We've been going since 8 a.m., guys.
yeah.
And no, so there's that. Again, everyone get on the site. There's a lot of that. I would invite people to just go on the site and like kind of click on the news stuff. I've been writing a lot, and I'll put out the last time my computer fried, I lost all last year's all the new courses. So like I lost basically about 4 or 5 terabytes worth of courses.
Uh,
And so that's kind of why the site hasn't been updated. I'm here updating the site. I'm here shooting new courses and I'm here doing another new like business venture. So more on that later. But
yeah, well, I
again,
didn't get a chance
yeah,
to ask you what you're looking forward to.
I'm looking
The
forward to this.
dragon.
I'm 100%. I'm just coming back and seeing the frantic nature. It's just a cautionary tale reminding me to just stay single-minded. And so I'm just simply kind of on fire in this one direction. So it's like all the
Mhm.
Yama teacher training stuff and
Right.
all and then this other thing with the qigong work that I'm doing. And
Mhm.
other than that, I've just been really simplified. And yeah, I'm having a good time with that.
Yeah.
But that's
Same.
I'm
Yeah.
looking
Simple is
forward
best.
to I have a very defined purpose right now, and I like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
I've tweaked. I've turned the corner of the imposter syndrome of being a writer and being now I have a team, so I genuinely feel like I don't have to stand on my own assumed authority. Like I actually have a team of people that are the best at what they do, um, and watching them support, it's like, go in, blow some minds, but then just when you think like you're about to blow minds, you're like, now check this guy out. Now, it's like, it's so cool to have a team of people that like no matter what the format, you can just, break the hearts and blow the minds, and people can leave with something special. People can leave with something tangible, grounded. There's no magic snake. I mean, it's like clean, and I feel so clean with these guys. So this is
Hmm.
this is really
Hmm.
really fun.
Yeah,
The crew, Sheldon, David, and they're as good as it gets, man.
it's good
And
stuff.
to
Yeah,
be a part of that team, oof, and
yeah,
our guest celebrities coming in, it's like,
yeah.
yeah. So I'm
Yeah,
just like,
very good time, very good time
yeah,
to get involved in that, in the
mhm,
single-minded,
yeah,
simplified, grounded kind of approaches because
mhm,
dragon is encompassing,
yeah.
especially earth dragon, very powerful because it's able to hold space for all the other 11 animals, right? So
Can I say
yes.
something? And
Yeah.
to let everyone know, also Scott is also a part of this crew. So it's like,
Thank
he's,
you.
it's like,
Yeah, no,
and
it's an honor.
in a perfect world, you guys got to know this. Like, I'm going to be doing a big Yama project. Not it's big for me. It's kind of, I'm doing two big dream projects right now, actually three, but they're all part of the same thing. So it's just one thing. But I'm going to try to get Scott in there because Scott, like a lot of you guys don't know, was the first guy to like do the Yama stuff with me, and he's like the OG in the Bay Area of this
Oh,
work. And so I got to get him doing it because he's all like, I'm writing and I'm studying, but the guy can kick like crazy, and he's big and he's strong, but he does great yoga and all that stuff. And I'm not trying to pump you up or anything, but
thanks.
like,
Yeah.
don't sell yourself short. And
Okay.
so everyone push Scott, be like, teach us something, Scott. Yeah, yeah.
When are you going to
That
teach Yama again?
yeah,
Come
yeah,
on,
yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Because
yeah.
yeah, it's like he holds a lot of wisdom, and
Mm.
yeah. So yeah. So don't think
Thank you,
Scott.
bud.
Don't think our relationship is just sitting here on the like. Our relationship started through like training and music and like
Yeah,
being
yeah,
in the room. Yeah. So
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm looking forward to kind of the next level of all these relationships. We're all grown now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So now
yeah,
we're
we're
all
all
holding
adults.
space. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking
Entering
forward
into
to.
that elder time. Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that encompassing energy can be a big
Yeah.
part of it, like to
Yeah, man.
really make the connections, see how everything fits. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, I'm gonna get out of here, and dude, yeah. So look up was it your Tongshu? And no, yours
No, your Tongshu Insight.
yeah,
Well, I'm on Instagram at Jen Wu,
yeah,
ZhenWu Astrology.
yeah. And y'all
Yeah.
go to the Yama system, sign up for the free stuff. Every person that's come in has had neck issues, so there's a free take care of your neck and shoulders kind of course.
Mm,
And I even just did it to Sheldon, and he just sent me a text message going, "This changed my whole day. Thank you so much."
nice.
So get that. I'm taking Zoom clients for like self care and for journaling and like mind body stuff. So that's kind of up there right now. And
Okay.
but other than that, the in-person stuff has to take a break because now it's all about filming and doing this new project. So but that's it, man. Yeah. Thank you that was good. I don't know how this is gonna look. I hope it
It's gonna
turns
be
out
great.
it's gonna be amazing. And
Mhm.
again, send me your apologies if you fear mongered me, and apologize to all your friends, because everyone that you fear mongered, if you were an eclipse person or you're a conspiracy person, and it didn't happen, you're losing credibility if you don't admit to your folly. So know that every time I freak out on something, if I don't admit that it didn't happen, then people stop trusting because I'm crying wolf. And this isn't to shame you. This is to where you are self-aware enough to know that sometimes we get afraid and we throw tantrums, and hey, just be like, hey, next time maybe I'm gonna not throw a tantrum.
I have a
Yeah.
very simple understanding of an eclipse that I cultivated from this particular event that I'd like to share, which is to say,
Hmm.
from and studying in this system. And basically, eclipses are nature's version of having a stroke. That's
Mm.
it. And they're
Oh,
very short.
someone also told me this the other day. They go, the native cultures, don't look at the eclipse. They don't look at the eclipse. But I'm like,
Many,
yeah, but they also
most
didn't have
actually don't.
sunglasses to look at the eclipse. So probably someone looked at the eclipse and it hurt their eyes really bad, and they said, maybe we shouldn't do that.
Right. I
I'm
mean,
gonna
there's,
I'm gonna assume
yeah,
they learn from mistakes because that's called
because
living
that's
in
what we
nature.
do. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what we
yeah.
do.
So it's like just don't overthink it, y'all. Like I mean, I'm
Mm.
not, and I don't want to foot in my mouth. And next thing you know, the weird, as I wrote in the thing, the eyes wide shut party on the comet comes crashing into me. You know what I mean? But there is something to be said about like this whole there's a lot of conspiracies going on, and that goes as a part of the formula to destabilize your mind. And so if you don't know who to trust, get off social media. Like
Mm.
discernment is an art form, and so to discern the minds that are bringing information to you is an art form in itself. So if you're wondering who to trust, stop
Trust no
listening for a little
one.
bit. Yeah, trust,
Yeah.
just yeah, because you can't trust yourself, and so you're wondering why you're into this conspiracy theory crap.
So
So
that was something that somebody had once. I think it was actually recording a lecture of Ming's. He was talking about
mhm.
when Padmasambhava Baba died. Padmasambhava Baba was this great Dzogchen practitioner. Is like the founder of
Who?
like
Papa
um,
Baba?
Padmasambhava. Yeah. So when he was a great teacher. When he died, they said to they asked for his like last teaching, and his last teaching was trust no one.
Ooh,
And just to
yeah.
say that like you should that the teaching that the pith teaching of Pablo Sambalo was your experience, your own experience is the
Mhm.
core source of any wisdom that you could possibly have in life. So don't trust anybody else to be the one who gives it to you. It's actually you have to go get it.
The only thing you can trust is the spider in your hair. You know what I mean? Sorry. Not for you.
Something like,
That
yeah,
not for you.
okay.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
for me, unless I don't know, I might have one.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Okay, cool. So yeah, we gotta get out of here. I do
okay.
want to I do want to comment on your beard width.
Oh,
Your
well,
beard
thank
is
you.
getting
I'm
very,
keeping it
it doesn't
around
go,
because
it's
yeah,
growing
it's going
wide.
out. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
keeping it around because it keeps threatening to do something interesting, and I'm like,
Okay.
okay, and it hasn't quite done it yet. So,
All right, man.
all
All right,
right,
dude.
brother. All right,
All right.
bye.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second.
Okay,
I got to th- how do I
I think you just
it just
stop.
there we go. There we go. All right,
Okay,
everybody, have a great day.
bye.
See ya. Bye.